What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here, bringing you some more Series 12 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. Today we are using this really fun team that I've been wanting to use for a while, featuring Bouffalant. So a while ago I said, hey, let's pick a random Pokemon and try and build a team around it. And the Pokemon that I settled on was Bouffalant. And this is the wild team that I came up with. So talking a little bit about the team, it is Kyogre and Calyrex. So the main idea is it's weakness policy Kyogre, because of the fact that it has very good synergy with Bouffalant, right? And that is through Comfey. So with the weakness policy, Kyogre is able to hit very, very hard and able to pick up a lot of KOs. And also because you're going for that weakness policy, you have the ability just to invest a lot in bulk. And that bulk really plays a big role, particularly against things like Thundurus. You have just a very favorable matchup into it, being able to fire off massive damage. One thing to note, though, that this is min speed Kyogre, with the idea that it functions very well in Trick Room. So it is making certain things a little bit complicated. Like there are certain Incineroars that are now going to outspeed you, but being able to guarantee rain against Groudon usually is really nice. So next up we have Calyrex. So Calyrex is pretty standard here. It is sort of our main Trick Room setter. It does go very well with Kyogre. Also, one nice thing about it is because of the fact that we have access to Glacial Lance, we don't need to have Ice Beam on Kyogre and instead can go for Thunder. So that is a little bit of a trade-off, right? Like you're not able to hit things like a Gastrodon, but I think it's fine having so much damage there. So next up, we have the star of the show. This is Bouffalant. So Bouffalant is just really there to hit as hard as possible. It has Head Charge, High Horsepower, and Throat Chop. So this is really great because of the fact that you do underspeed Kyogre. So under Trick Room, you have the ability to go for Max Darkness, followed by something like a huge Origin Pulse. So overall, just a really great sort of option. So next up is Comfey. So Comfey right here is serving a ton of utility, right? It has access to Giga Drain, which not only can proc the policy on Kyogre, it also procs Sap Sipper on Bouffalant. And for those of you that don't know what it does, Bouffalant does not take damage from grass type moves and instead receives an attack boost. So that really lets Bouffalant hit very, very hard. And so that really is huge, especially against things like Venusaur, right? Like having an immunity to any of its attacks is just overall really game changing. And also it is our second Trick Room setter, so that is important. Next up, we have Amoonguss. Amoonguss just is a really great option under Trick Room. Being able to offer you Spore and Redirection to help set up is huge. And then finally, that last sort of bit for setting up Trick Room is Incineroar. And so this is a really different Incineroar. I wanted to try really defensively bulky. And normally when you run Burning Jealousy, you want to run it with a Grimmsnarl with the idea of being able to set up a screen to survive something like a Thundurus Zacian. But I think that this scenario is fine, mainly just due to the fact that we have Chople Berry, right? So being able to take those Sacred Swords is really huge. So this is the team. We will have the paste in the description, so definitely make sure to check that out. And with that, let's just get rocking and rolling and move into the first game. All right, battle number one, and we are against a Lunadon team. So we are against Groudon, Lunala with Charizard, a Venusaur, a Porygon 2, and an Incineroar. So this is, I think, really good for Kyogre Comfey, right? Being able to trigger that weakness policy, go for immediately a solid Water Spout. We don't have to worry about Venusaur. I think Bouffalant in the back, just as a way to sort of potentially stop like a Venusaur. And then finally Calyrex. I think Calyrex is going to be huge here. It's hard because I also really like Incineroar. But I think what we have is fine. I think that we do threaten a ton of damage. Also, I don't expect my opponent to, or I don't think my opponent's going to realize that Kyogre is going to be slower than their Groudon, right? Like normally people expect a faster Kyogre. Maybe because it's Trick Room, they'll think otherwise. But being able to sort of set up immediately, I think is huge. And also, we very well might be in a position where we can underspeed the the Incineroar if they set up a Trick Room of their own. But like this is a tricky spot, right? Like because my opponent's team really wants Trick Room, but the question is they don't want Trick Room as badly as I do, right? Like being able to go for sort of that big having Calyrex under Trick Room is just like such a big advantage, especially because of the fact that we have a bunch of stuff that's slower than Lunala too. So we can really just threaten it there, and I'm really hoping that we can get Bouffalant in the right position because it can just do a lot. So for leads, we're going to see Charizard Groudon. So this is really great, right? Because they think, hey, I'm going to be able to set up the sun, but in reality, right, we're going to actually get up the rain. So That's going to be really huge. And also with that sort of, what's it called? With that weakness policy, we can pretty freely go for an Origin Pulse. So I'm fine to just click Origin Pulse here, as well as just go for, I'm going to go for the Giga Drain onto Kyogre. I do want to set up Trick Room, but I think that that's fine to stagger by a turn. We could have just gone straight for, what's it called? We could have gone for a Max. I don't think we need to go for a Max, right? Like, I think we definitely have a lot of options, especially because we do have the Rain Up. So this is a really great spot, right? Like, you're not going to be able to KO me, especially with all the extra bulk that I have. We have just a lot of defense. We're max HP. So that definitely is going to play a role here. We're going to see the Groudon switch out. So that's really nice. It's something that's going to come in. It's going to just take a ton of damage. It is going to be this Incineroar. So if we're able to pick up the KO onto the Incineroar, like that's huge, right? Like it suddenly opens up all of these doors for Calyrex. As we are going to see, what's it called? The Charizard not going for a Max here. I think that that's a really smart play, as we will get that weakness policy fired off. We do see the Hurricane, so a little bit risky here. Luckily, we have no confusion. We are going to miss something. I hope that that's not the Incineroar. Incineroar would be really bad to miss. It is unfortunately going to be that Incineroar, so we will lose our what's it called? We won't lose anything, but this is just a really awkward position, right? Like my opponent is able to fire off just a lot of stuff, as we will see the Groudon come back out, right? There's sort of this really big incentive for me to stay in. So I can actually go for... honestly, a Max Geyser in the rain, or even in the sun. We're at +2. So I feel very confident just going for this. So the nice thing here is that Comfey should be able to outspeed... what's it called? Should be able to outspeed the Incineroar. So I can get the Floral Healing off before they're able to fire off, what's it called? A Fake Out into Comfey. I'm hoping to survive pretty comfortably, because then I can set up the Trick Room, right? Like we do have to still worry about getting that off, as we will see the Floral Healing, right, connect onto this Kyogre. Depending on how their Incin is trained, there is a chance that they are going to be able to Parting Shot off. They will unfortunately miss the blades onto my Comfey, but I don't think that's an issue, as we will just see, yeah, we confirmed we are faster. We can fire off a really big Max Geyser here, just getting a clean one-shot onto this Incineroar, and now we're just in an incredible position, right? Like, we have this super offensive Kyogre with just a ton of bulk. We have the ability to fire off another Floral Healing that they can't stop. So, right, like what, you bring out Lunala here, we have Bouffalant, which is more than capable of dealing with that. So I'm fine just to click Max Geyser once again into this Groudon, go for a Floral Healing onto this Kyogre. We do have Comfey to go for a Giga Drain onto the Lunala to break the Shadow Shield, which can play a big role if we want to bring out Bouffalant in the endgame. And right, like Bouffalant just is going to absolutely love dealing with this Lunala. Its main attack is what, Shadow Shield, or is a Ghost type, so that's something that we can comfortably take. And also this extra bulk really sort of paying off, right? Comfey doing a little bit more than I had realized with that Giga Drain. I did not expect Comfey to hit quite that hard, but I think that it's still fine, right? And my opponent really sort of thinking, how can they get out of this position? I think you have to max Groudon here, and the real question, right, is +2 Geyser in the rain able to one-shot your max? I think the answer should be yes. You will be able to get a Quake Off, potentially a second attack with your Lunala, depending on how fast everything is. I do expect that the Lunala, it should outspeed, so we will have to take 2 hits between both of these, as Kyogre going to go basically back to full at this point. We are going to see the Meteor Beam. I think that that's smart, right? You really want to try to set up. And I'm assuming that this is going to go into Kyogre. It could go into the Comfey, right? Just trying to stop all those boosts. It looks like it is. Is that going into Comfey? It is unfortunately going into Comfey, so we will lose Comfey here. But I think that that's still fine, right? We have access to Bouffalant, as we will see the Quake come out. I still think that Kyogre should be able to get this KO onto Groudon. If it can't, we're in pretty bad shape, in all honesty. Solely because of the fact that actually no, this is fine. We should be able to get the knockout here. We don't, so that's annoying for sure. I'm gonna bring out Bouffalant here. I think Bouffalant is now in a very prime position, right? Also the Bouffalant, the Parched, I think is pretty funny. We still have another turn of Max, so we can go for a Max Geyser onto this Groudon, as well as a Throat Chop onto Lunala, just trying to break a Shadow Shield. And also, like, this sets us up really well, right? Because of the fact that Lunala, you're going to probably want to double up Ogre, and Ogre is just very naturally bulky at this point. We know that we can very comfortably take a hit. I feel like the Groudon is Assault Vest, so that is really reassuring, right? Like, you have no access to Protect. As we will see a second Meteor Beam. So this Lunala, an interesting choice, right? We have the ability just to go for a double Protect the subsequent turn. I think it's really just trying to set up for an endgame. Bouffalant, I'm hoping, can take this. It does, right? Like that's really great to see. And what's more important, right? I do expect to see this hit going into Bouffalant, right? Saying, hey, I have to go for this if I want to damage you, because I don't really have another option, right? Lunala typically doesn't have a second sort of non-ghost attack. It's usually just Meteor Beam. So even though they're at +2, right, like we obviously have the ability just to go for a double Protect this turn, and then we can just put on a ton of pressure the subsequent turn. So Throat Chop going to come out here doing a solid chunk. That's with Shadow Shield. That was not broken at this point. We can just go for the Protect though, and then at this point, right, we can very easily clean up. So even though this wasn't Bouffalant's game, it definitely was able to do a lot. So I think, yeah, we can just click the double Protect here. My opponent has to go for a Meteor Beam, and then we have just some sort of guaranteed damage. Either it's going to be Thunder, or it's going to be what's it called, a Throat Chop. And we know that if they go for the Meteor Beam, they have to take 2 turns in order to KO Bouffalant. So we can just go for a Thunder. We don't have to risk the accuracy, as well as another Throat Chop onto this Lunala, and that combination should definitely be more than enough to pick up a knockout. And yeah, my opponent going to recognize that and going to concede. So overall, I think just a really solid first game, right? Like we were able to put on a ton of pressure with Kyogre. We took advantage of the speed to underspeed the Groudon. So yeah, overall, really happy with things, and let's just keep rocking and rolling and move to the next game. All right, battle number 2, and it is Dialga Kyogre. So a very interesting one. It is Dialga Tyranitar, Togedemaru, Corsola, Grimmsnarl, Kyogre, Venusaur. What do I do here? I like Bouffalant a lot. I want Trick Room up, but I don't know how to get there. Honestly, let's actually do the same lead as last time. Let's do Kyogre, Comfey with Bouffalant and Calyrex. What does Calyrex do here? Let's bring Calyrex. So this is tricky, right? That Venusaur makes things a little bit scary, but Bouffalant I think is still pretty primed, right? We have the ability to go for Giga Drain to give us an attack boost, so that sort of should be really helpful. We do have to be very careful though of a lot of things, to say the least. Let's see what we're gonna see here. We're gonna see a Dialga with Grimmsnarl. Okay, so Grimmsnarl is fine. It's not ideal. The tricky thing here is you can very easily double up into my Comfey to make it so I can't get up Trick Room. I do still want to try for Trick Room. I think I want to go for an Origin Pulse as well as go for the Trick Room. I think that this is, I kind of need this, in all honesty. We're going to see the Trick come out. So the Trick is fine, right? That means that you are not doubling up into my Comfey, so it's guaranteed to live a turn. We are going to get an eject button, so that's actually really good for us, right? As we will be able to fire off a really big Origin Pulse onto both of these Pokemon before they're able to hit me. We get over half onto this Grimmsnarl. We're going to see the Trick Room. So the Dialga not attacking confirms that it is also going for a Trick Room of its own. So unfortunately, my Trick Room is going to be reversed. I think it's fine just to still go for another Origin Pulse. And I don't even need to go for an Origin Pulse. I should go for an Origin Pulse. I'm going to go for an Origin Pulse, and I'm just going to go for another Trick Room, and I'm going to say, hey, if you want to keep playing this game, we're going to keep playing this game, and I should be the one to come out on top, just given the fact that, right, like, I'm getting chip damage onto your Pokemon. We could see a double up right onto Comfey, just trying to stop a Trick Room, and so then it comes down to the question of who is faster between Grimmsnarl and Kyogre. So there is a chance that the Grimmsnarl is going to be faster. We are at 85 speed, so I would actually be pretty shocked, but I really am hoping for the knockout onto Grimm and a free switch out from Ogre into Bouffalant, so we can really start going for Giga Drain boosted attacks. We are going to see the Origin Pulse come out. We unfortunately do miss the Dialga, but this is really important, right? Because what happens here is we're guaranteed to set up a Trick Room, and so we can really take advantage of that. But it's interesting to see the fact that, what's it called? That my, my Kyogre moves first, right? Because we are min speed, so this Dialga is super slow as well. This is also really tricky because of the fact that, they did get up a Steel Spike boost, which also puts us in a subpar position. But what's nice, right, is we do have this ability to pivot things out. We are going to see the Corsola. So I don't know what Corsola can do. I don't know what type it is. I'm going to go for another Origin Pulse just because I can. And I'm going to go for a Giga Drain onto this Corsola, just trying to get a little bit of chip going. I think we're still in a really primed position for this endgame, as we will get this Strength Sap off. I don't know how slow Corsola is. I know that it has Strength Sap, but that should not affect Bouffalant, which is huge. We're going to see the Nightshade come out, probably onto Ogre. Yep, onto the Ogre. So this is going to trigger my eject button. And so I have to make a call of what do I think you have in the back. I'm going to bring out Bouffalant. I think Bouffalant is fine here. Right, we do have the ability to set up Quake. This is going to be turn 2 of the Dialga's max, as we will see a Quake of their own come out and probably into the, okay, so it's going to go into the Comfey. And this is really big, right? We now are having a situation where we will be able to have Bouffalant next to Calyrex. And the question is who do we want to max here, right? Calyrex is going to come out. We are going to see the last turn of this Dialga's max. And I think what we can really start doing is putting on pressure. I don't think I want to commit a max just yet. We do have Babiri Berry. How many turns of Trick Room are left? We still have a good amount of Trick Room turns left. I'm going to go for a Throat Chop onto this Corsola, as well as a Protect with Calyrex, right? I really don't know what Corsola can do. Corsola, this thing can do. We're going to see the Will-O-Wisp. So that's actually really good information to know, right? What's going to happen is we are going to at least get the Throat Chop. Oh my goodness, that did no damage. So that's scary. We're going to see the Steel Spike come out. So going into Bouffalant, right? Bouffalant does take that relatively well. I want to, God, this is a tricky spot to be in. Yeah, because both of these are bad choices. I'm going to go for a Throat Chop here, and I have to Quake into the Dialga. We do have access to a Babiri Berry, so that should help. What I'm hoping to happen is even if they burn Corsola, right? Or even if they burn Calyrex, if we can pick up the knockout onto Corsola and then make it so we get a strong special defense boost versus this Calyrex, right? Like, I mean, not this Calyrex, this Dialga. We should be able to take a hit with the Babiri Berry, and then we can sort of try and put pressure with Calyrex in the endgame. We're going to see Strength Sap, so I think that's fine. That's not fine. You're going to just recover all of the damage that I just did. Quake going to come out here. onto the Dialga. The big question is, how much does this do? This is -1. The answer is not a lot. So that's really reassuring. Hopefully no weakness policy, right? That would definitely be annoying. We're going to see no weakness policy. That's huge. Throat Chop going to come out into this Corsola, doing just a little bit of damage. And we should hopefully see a Flash Cannon come out. As we're going to see the Flash Cannon, unfortunately, it's going into Bouffalant. So my opponent really fearing the weakness policy. And as a result, we do get heavily punished, right? Like we do lose our Bouffalant. And so what I think I'm going to actually do here is, oh, we have a Kyogre. I forgot we had a Pokemon in the back. So this changes a lot. There should be one turn of Trick Room, and so we know Kyogre is faster than this Dialga, right? So this should be the last turn of Trick Room. It is. So I'm going to go for a double protect here, and so what that lets me do is we then have the ability to fire off a Water Spout as well as a Quake into Quake or a Hailstorm. I think what I want to do is I want to get damage. I want to make sure I get rid of this Corsola. So I'm going to Hailstorm into it because that gets me to +1, or it gets me back to neutral. And neutral is really where I want to be. And I think we can also make it so even if we get the KO onto Corsola with the Water Spout, right, we do have the ability just to sort of recover from it, as we will see the Dialga go for a Roar of Time. So that's definitely scary, right? We can fire off a Water Spout as well as a Hailstorm onto this Corsola. I don't expect it to it definitely should not be able to take both. We will be able to fire off this Water Spout, should hopefully do a really solid chunk into both. That's not a really solid chunk into both. We really do need that weakness policy. Roar of Time going to come out here onto my Kyogre. Question is, how much is it going to do? We do survive, so that's huge, right? And the big question, right, is Hailstorm at -1 going to be enough? I need the answer to be yes. The answer is no. So that means this Corsola is going to be able probably to Strength Sap into my Calyrex, right? Yeah, we're going to see another Strength Sap. So this is really bad. This is very, 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 very bad. What's nice though, Jesus Christ, back to full. We can go for an Origin Pulse and then try to knock out their Dialga. And we can just kind of accept the fact that Corsola is going to recover a lot, but it's not actually doing a ton of damage. So let's just try and get this here. We know that my opponent probably has an Ogre of their own in the back, so that's really unfortunate because it means that they can just bring out their Ogre. We will. I don't even think we get the KO onto Dialga. So let's see how this goes. Survey says, okay, we at least knock out the Dialga. So we're going to get to -1, only to go to -2 again as a result of the Strength Sap. They do need to go for Will-O-Wisp at some point, so that's fine. We're going to see the Nightshade come out into Kyogre. So, I mean, yeah, we really can't do anything here. I do, like I said, probably expect to see, what's it called? I expect to see a Kyogre come out here, right? And we, yeah, so it is going to be Ogre. Really, we can't do much here, so I'm going to just save myself some time and run. The trick made it a little bit tricky, if you will. So Dialga definitely a threat, not something that I planned super heavily for when building this team, and I think that is totally fine, right? You can't account for everything. And this is just one of those cases where I couldn't. We do have access to deal with Dialga, right? We have high horsepower on Calyrex, as well as Bouffalant having high horsepower. So we weren't in a position to properly set up. So we are going to see this Dialga. It is, yeah, just super bulky, which worked out very well for them, right? Having access to that ability just to have a ton of bulk and put on pressure because of what it does. Weakness policy here, interesting set for sure. I just didn't know what to expect from Tyranitar. Yeah, obviously Corsola just really sort of doing what it does best. Obviously, if we had been able to keep Bouffalant around, we would have been in a much stronger position, but it's fine. Grimmsnarl, eject button, right? Interesting that there's no screens. That sort of really paid off for us. And then Scarf Ogre. So yeah, when I saw the Scarf Ogre, there's nothing I can do at this point. And then Venusaur, it doesn't matter. So overall, a little bit of an unfortunate second game, but let's just keep rocking and rolling and play one more. All right, last battle of the day, and it is Rinya's Sun. Really not much to say there. It is Incineroar, Charizard, Gastrodon, Grimmsnarl with a Zacian and a Groudon. So I think Kyogre huge here. Kyogre Comfey going to be a really big deal. I think we want Calyrex for sure, right? Calyrex being able to function really well under Trick Room, and then the question is, what do we want in the back? Incineroar has a lot of potential here, right? But I want to bring Bouffalant. In all honesty, we could drop Calyrex. Do I want to just stick with the same 4 for now? You know what? We're going to. I think that's fine, right? Like, I don't expect my opponent to be prepared for min speed Kyogre, and so that can sort of really help us. I do expect potentially to see a switch out from like if they're leading the standard, what I expect of Charizard and Charizard Groudon, right? Like we can just go for an Origin Pulse as well as a Trick Room, as we are going to see Charizard and Incineroar. So this is a sort of an interesting take, right? And I think it works out very well for my opponent, right? They are able to set up the Sun, which means that we do have to be just a little bit careful of what we can do. What we could do is so I expect Incineroar. So here's the thing, right? Here is the thing. I'm going to go for an Origin Pulse, as well as go for a Trick Room. I think so. The way this works, right, is you can, if you double up into Comfey, right? If you double up into Comfey, what that means is you are not going for, you're not switching into Groudon, and I'm pretty sure we can survive. If you do switch out into Groudon, right, you're only getting 1 attack, so you're going to bring me down a Sash, and it's most likely going to be your Charizard. So I think that's fine, because we can, even if we lose Comfey to Wildfire, right, like that does give us a free switch, and we can really sort of utilize that switch to our advantage. I mean, a fake out here is what I expect, right? Like we could see a fake out, and Charizard just going for like a Hurricane. We are going to see a commitment to a max. So what I'm actually kind of afraid of is going to be a fake out into the Comfey, as well as just an attack from Charizard onto my Comfey, right? If you double up that slot is a little bit scary. My opponent probably trying to preserve Wildfire turns here, so something to be wary of. We are going to see the fake out, and it's going to go out perfect into Kyogre, right? So Kyogre now going to be able to underspeed everything, right? We unfortunately take a hit on this Comfey, but we are able to set up Trick Room. That's fine, right? Like the Trick Room goes up. I should have paid attention to when what's it called, when the attacks went off. But I think an Origin Pulse is fine here with a Giga Drain, right? We can just click Origin Pulse, just go really hard, and then Giga Drain, just nope. And we can Giga Drain and self proc. We are going to take a little bit more damage than I'm super comfortable with, in all honesty, but we should be able to get a really big chunk onto this Charizard, right, and sort of set up for a really strong endgame. And I think what happens now is, right, like if we can get Comfey nice and healthy, we can also try and get Bouffalant out, right? Okay, so we are going to see the max guard, which is totally fine with me. Giga Drain going to come out onto the Kyogre, and so what we could see happen here is we could see a parting shot out into Groudon, but even then, like at -2, I feel very comfortable in the amount of damage that Kyogre is going to do. So that is fine. We're going to see, unfortunately, the parting shot, so we are going to be at -1. I mean, we're only going to be at +1, so this should be into Groudon. If it's into Groudon, that's fine, because what we can do then is Floral Healing and go for a Water Spout and just like really neutralize my opponent's max turns. As we are going to see, yep, it is going to be Groudon. So Groudon, right, is going to be fine. Groudon's going to take an Origin Pulse, and so we can see how much damage that does, and then kind of just like assess what we want to go for. I think going for a Water Spout is just totally fine. As we will see, I mean, that's solid damage, and we know that more importantly, we know that Water Spout is going to do more, especially if we heal up with Comfey. So that's going to be really big here. So being able to go for a Water Spout, even though it's in the sun, and then go for a Floral Healing onto this Kyogre, right? We're going to just be able to get as much damage as we can out. And also we're stalling out Wildfire turns, which I think is really important. We do need to obviously get rid of this Charizard because of the fact that we do have a Calyrex in the back. So that does make things a little bit tricky, but being able to, yeah, almost back to full, firing off a Water Spout should do huge damage into both, almost enough for a double KO. Unfortunately, we're not going to get it. So a P-Blades is going to come our way, should do a pretty hefty chunk into both. Comfey does survive, which is huge, as the Wildfire going to come out here, right? And it is going to pick up a knockout. So that's unfortunate, as we will lose Comfey, but we still have turns of Trick Room to work with, and we can pretty easily bring out a Bouffalant here. I mean, Calyrex is actually just a better, objectively better choice. No, I'm going to bring out Bouffalant. I think Bouffalant is fine here. The way it works is that it can, what's it called? It can survive, or it still underspeeds base 100s after a max strike. So that's really big here. I do want to switch out into Calyrex. I do expect an Incin to switch in. So I would like very much to, I could Quake the Groudon slot. I'm going to go for a strike onto the Charizard. I just want to get rid of it because it is the bigger threat into Calyrex, right? I do expect to see a potential switch come out from the Groudon into Incineroar. So this really can hopefully get me in a position where I can go for a second Trick Room, which I think can sort of play a big role. I hopefully can pull this off. We're going to see, yeah, the Groudon is going to switch out. This should be into Incineroar. Yep, we are going to see the Incineroar come out. So I definitely had the ability to probably plan for this a little bit better, but I think if we can get rid of the Charizard, we should be in really good shape, because that means that we are in just such a strong position to max this Calyrex. I mean, not max this Calyrex. You set up a second Trick Room with this Calyrex, and I think if we can get a second Trick Room up, we should be just in really good shape. And especially we have a fair bit of bulk on the Bouffalant, so hoping that even if they want to bring out something like a Calyrex, right, like we can take that hit very comfortably. So like I said, hoping to at least knock out this Charizard. It looks like a Protect, unfortunately. So kind of not the end of the world, right? But with that solar power damage, we should be able to pick up that knockout. So Charizard should, yeah, it looks like Charizard's going to get knocked out here. The critical hit, I'm not sure how much it matters. Oh, it's not actually knocked out. Oh, it is knocked out. I always forget how that works. Bouffalant also can make it, yeah, so this makes it a little bit awkward, right? Like we're setting up a potential Trick Room, but we're also going for max strikes, which is never what you want to see here. So it's going to be a little bit of a balancing act, right? So we are going to see Groudon come out here. So this is fine too. We do have one turn of Trick Room left. I want to go for a Protect here and then go for a max Quake. I'm going to go for a max Darkness, Quake, max Quake. I'm going to Quake into the Groudon. I'm going to strike the Groudon because that means Trick Room is going to end. And so we do have the ability then for Calyrex to be faster than Groudon. I mean, than Incin. So we can go for, what's it called? A really big hit into it with high horsepower to be able to hopefully survive the Zacian. So that sort of can work in our favor, as we will be able to create this scenario, right, where we have, what's it called? We have access to Trick Room, again, taking advantage of our, what's it called? Our Calyrex, right, with the Babiri Berry. We should see, yeah, it is going to be Zacian. So I do think we need Trick Room up to have any hope of surviving. This is a question, right? If you double up into Calyrex, that's really bad. But I think I have to go for a Trick Room here, as well as a Max Quake onto this Incineroar, right? Just to try and preserve as much as we can. More importantly, we should be able to get off, what's it called? The Quake before Incineroar can go for an attack. So we will see the Behemoth Blade come out. So proccing the Babiri Berry, we could have doubled up into the Zacian, right? I think that there is merit in that, but we should be able to take this well. We do take it well, and so now the big question is what is this Incineroar doing? There is a chance it goes for a Flare Blitz, which would be really unfortunate, as we will just fire off a big Quake doing a solid chunk right onto this Incineroar. So the question now, right, is what is this Incineroar going to go for? Bouffalant is going to take a hit. We're going to see the Flare Blitz, but it is going to go into Bouffalant. So this is huge for us, right? Like we now are able to get up a Trick Room, and so that really puts us, I think, in an advantageous position because of the fact that now we do have to worry about the speedy Incineroar, but at the same time, right? Like we now, I think what I want to do actually, I don't want to switch into Ogre. I think I need Ogre a little bit too much. I'm going to go for a high horsepower onto this Incin and go. I'm just going to double high horsepower. Right. The thought process is we just need to get chip onto stuff. We could see the Flare Blitz going to come out. This should be going into Calyrex, into Bouffalant again. So definitely a little bit unfortunate, right? We will though be able to fire back with a high horsepower into, it looks like the Zacian, right? So that's going to be really big, being able to get off just a solid bit of chunk as we can bring out Kyogre, and this will be a single target Origin Pulse after, yeah, look at how low Zacian is. So as long as we hit the Origin Pulse, right, like we should have this game wrapped up. So I think that this just puts us in a really strong position, right? So yeah, it will come down to an Origin Pulse connecting, but overall, I think like Bouffalant, like it really put in work, right? It gave us all these options with speed control. It was able to get the damage on the Zacian, I mean on the Groudon, and really set us up for I think a very strong team game. So this is going to come down to an Origin Pulse. We do have a fair bit of defense, so there is a chance even if we miss, right? Yeah, I think we have to go for the Origin Pulse. I don't think it's in range of Thunder, given the fact that we don't have a ton of special attack, right? We are pretty low from that extra bulk, but this should be, I think just it should, Origin Pulse single target should be more than enough. So moment of truth, we are going to see the animation. It is going to hit. I can't see the Zacian living, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like my suspicion was correct. So overall, I think a really solid set of games. I think we didn't get to show off Bouffalant really as much as I would like. This kind of was more of the Calyrex, I mean the Kyogre gets the weakness policy and kind of decimates everything show, but I think it still was a really good showing. We will definitely be playing some more with Bouffalant, so look forward to that. And yeah, with that, until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.